All right. How are we feeling, Walter? Ready to get started?
Yeah, I think so. I think we should just
All
go
right.
right ahead. Let's see what we got here. All right.
Like a sea captain.
I am.
Yeah,
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 I
they, they,
yeah. Hi,
yeah,
Ed and everyone. I am a sea captain today. We're taking a sailing trip. We're going on a journey. Welcome, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here and to have a chance to visit together, explore, get to know each other a little better, and see if we can make some headway in deepening our understanding of play. I have a few announcements, but before we officially begin, I'd like to introduce a colleague of mine, Carly Bedard, who you will discover as I have. She's a precious human being with a heart of gold that loves to share and help everybody, really. She's a young professor at Biola University in California. She's a master play coach who's done an enormous amount of work with teachers, professors, and parents, as well as children. She's a pre-K teacher, and she's been in the field of early childhood education for at least 20 years. And Carly and I have met a couple of years ago when I was working with some play coaches in California, training, I think there were 29, 30 play coaches, and Carly was the lead coach. She's still the guide of that team of play coaches that are now spreading their understanding and practice of play across the state of California, mostly in the southern part of California, isn't it, Carly? Yeah, I'm sure it is. So I'd like to just introduce Carly. She's going to say a few words, and then following that, we're going to share a few thoughts about focusing what we're doing today, so you'll have an idea of what you're about to experience. We'll go from right now till about probably 1:30, 90 minutes or so. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce you my partner in this epic journey of studying and practicing play in the virtual domain, Carly Bedard.
So, I'm Walter, and just some really great to be together, and it's absolutely my get to introduce you all to Dr. Walter Drew. For those of you who may not be familiar with Dr. Drew's work, he has been an incredible play advocate and researcher and author for over 40 years. Walter is the founder and executive director of the Institute for Self-Active Education, which is an incredible organization that's committed to supporting self-active play for both children and adults. And they partner with businesses to provide reusable resources and open-ended loose parts to inspire these rich play experiences. You're going to have an opportunity to learn more about the Institute for Self-Active Education on our participant guide. There's going to be a link to Walter's website if you want to explore more. He's also the former president of the Association of the Study of Play, and he's the creator of Dr. Drew's Discovery Blocks. He's the author of one of my personal favorite books, From Play to Practice. And I am certain his second book that I have that will be delivered from Amazon tomorrow, Self-Active Play, is sure to be another one of my favorites. You'll have a link to be able to check out both of those books also in the participant guide. But besides all of Walter's amazing professional accolades, I wanted to note just Walter's undying passion and commitment to this work And for those of you that know Walter, I'm sure you can attest to just his incredible encouragement for the way that we all can embody these principles of play. And his amazing mentoring and friendship has just meant so much to me. So I'm really excited to spend this time with you all and have Walter lead us through time is going to look like. And again, Walter, just thank you for the incredible human being you are.
Yeah, well, he sounds like quite a person. I'd like to meet him.
Over to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Carly.
He is.
Yeah. Before we begin, I have a couple announcements that I'd like to share some news. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge the sponsorship and support of this work from the Florida Kiwanis Foundation, and then especially the Will and Rachel Bleckman Fund. They've been very generous in providing some equipment for us to do this work. And Will Bleckman, who passed away very recently, as some of you may know, has been really an international leader in promoting the health and well-being of children and a strong advocate of play. Also like to thank the Florida Association for the Education of Young Children, which now is the sponsor of this work and has an official play chapter, in large part because of the early work of the NACI Play Policy and Practice Interest Forum, of which we have one of the earliest pioneers and founders of the Play Policy and Practice Interest Forum of NACI, and that's Professor Edgar Klubman, who is a mentor to me and has been for a number of years. And it's wonderful to have Ed at the wonderful age of 96, still modeling for us the importance of staying playful and resilient as we age. And so, Ed, I thank you again for all the work you have done over the years. You're not the only one that's involved in play, but you certainly has been a beginning force in getting us going. I also see Karen Vanderven here from University of Pittsburgh. It's nice to see you also, Karen, all of you. Wonderful to be, and Blythe Heinitz, who has been a pioneer at NACI for the history of early childhood education. She's been doing that for years. It's wonderful to be here like this with all of you. Please accept my acknowledgement and appreciation for you being present today. I'd also like to say that we also have a couple of award winners from the state of Florida. You may have noticed that NACI, the National Association for the Education of Young Children, has, the Greatest Teacher of the Year award. And that person now is an advocate that goes around the country. Well, the state of Florida now has an inaugural, outstanding, wonderful, gifted program for acknowledging the leading teacher that's been chosen. And that teacher is Jenny Gallego, who is a teacher with Paula Lopez and the Kinderoo Children's Academy in Ocala. And it's not only Jenny that was awarded by our state organization, but so was Paula Lopez, who's with us today. She was chosen the outstanding leader for the state of Florida. And those are two wonderful awards. We're grateful to have Paula with us and Jenny, the award winner, as well. Okay, well, I'd like to just kind of move into a couple of things. What are we going to do today? What's the program or protocol? So you'll have an idea of where we're going. In just a few minutes, I'm going to put you, in a sense, in a play space where you get to use those materials. Hopefully you brought some materials with you. If you don't have some, this would be a good time just to go fetch whatever might be at hand, some open-ended objects that might attract your attention and lead you to some exploration. But the biggest thing right now is, what's our objective today? And as you see on the screen, thank you, Carly, we want to slow down. We want to be attentive as best we can to how valuable deep breathing is. You know, just kind of get here from wherever we have been into this moment of contemplation so that we can appreciate and experience a little healing through our play today together, through our sharing. And we've chosen one principle in particular to talk about, principle number 3, and I'll share a little bit about that in a moment. We're going to see a short video about some people playing in a space like we're talking about. And then we're going to have our own opportunity to do just that, to enter the play space. Okay. So the idea is that of the 7 principles of self-active education, the first one, just very briefly, is that play is a source of creative energy. Whether you're an adult or a child, if you engage in an authentic experience of play, you're going to experience your own flow of creativity and energy. And that is a force that has a positive influence on us, like we're going to experience in a few minutes. And that's good for our lifetime. That's briefly the whole idea. It's a way of constructing self-knowledge and being in touch with that inner power that we all have. The second principle talks about how both play and art making allow us to reconnect with earliest stages of our development. You know, when we were little boys and girls and adolescents, and we grow through our existence, and all of that is still with us. It's part of our existence and an expression of who we are today. And that experience of reconnecting and being in the state of play is a powerful, powerful force in our life. And it does such things as it empowers us to be hopeful and to be faithful and to be loving and caring, just like Erik Erikson has taught us. Fidelity, for instance, is being faithful not only in our relationships with people, but in our relationship with ourselves and our obligations as teachers, as parents, as friends, to be faithful to that. And of course, it's will. It's a way of strengthening the will. That is commitment to act with reason and power in positive ways. You know, that's a principle that we learn in play, and it comes into play in our life whenever we do play. You know, briefly, and there's a lot more written about that in the book that Carla referred to, and another one that I'll mention a little later. But number 3 is the focus of our work today. Our play work. And here it is for you to read. So briefly, we are proclaiming for our study, take a look at, see if it's true, that the play space is in fact a state of being. It's a higher functioning, more enjoyable state of being. It's no wonder kids like it so much. It puts them in that place of enjoyment and delight and power and control. But now that state of being is self-constructed, and it's also co-constructed. In solo play, it's self-constructed. In cooperative play, it's co-constructed. That's important that the players experience trust and that they understand that this is a safe experience. Like I hope you feel about this experience today. It's it's with that intent that I show you this little video. The little video is of a workshop I did about a month ago in Tallahassee at a state conference that was for Kiwanis Action Club members. For those of you familiar with Kiwanis, Action Club is a program for people, adults with disabilities. So I'd like you to keep that in mind when you look at these few minutes that illustrate principle number 3, that whether you're in a virtual play space like we are today, or in person at a NACI workshop or a staff development program, if you're in the play space, it doesn't matter where you are. The flow of energy will be the same. And it doesn't matter whether you're a very smart little boy or girl, or a very smart adult or an older person. If you're in the state of play, you experience a higher state of being. That's a reason why play is so important across the ages, intergenerationally. So without further ado, this is a little introduction to the idea that play is a state of being, and see if you observe the state of being in these plays you're about to view. Thank you again for being here. I hope you enjoy this little experience. Ready to go, Carly.
How did I get rid of
Few of these, okay. We have well, two, okay.
Oops, sorry.
No, really?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Willie, I can't.
No, we're both feeling it.
Yeah, you said towel.
How did I get rid of
Few of these, okay.
Willie, I can't.
No, we're both feeling it.
Yeah, you said
I
towel.
just got it.
Yeah.
Look. Sorry, Bill.
Yeah, what I have built here is a tower that represents balance between just your how
We're all best friends.
What were you doing there? You look like you were having a lot of fun.
Yeah, Miss Debbie put a lot of materials on me and I love it.
Yeah. I hope you get a feel for the idea that play is for everybody, whether you're just regular folks like us or the other kind of regular folks that have some kind of disabilities. And We'll have time a little later on for discussion. I apologize for the abrupt shift here. I hope there wasn't holy cow. Yeah. My service where I was in my studio, as you might have detected, wasn't as effective as I hope it is here for you. Thank you for your forbearance. So I'm going to continue. I'm in my living room right now. Okay. So just to refocus a little bit, what we're about to do is enter our own little play space, and we're followed by that. We will engage in a little reflection on what that experience is like, some journaling, and we'll have a discussion as a group after you've had a chance to experience one-to-one in breakout rooms and share whatever that experience you're about to have was for you. All right? So the rules here are very simple. You just kind of do it by yourself quietly with those materials and allow yourself to open your heart and be present. Just to freely, without any judgment or assessment, allow yourself to fiddle with the materials and stay with that for a little while, maybe 15, 20 minutes. As best you can, don't talk with anybody. If anybody's around, ask them, please don't bother. You're in a state of play here. Use it as a moment to actually research what it's like as an adult to engage in a state of mindfulness using those open-ended materials. Just to, in a sense, fiddle and meditate and see what comes from that. It's the construction of knowledge through your own direct experience. It's a building experience using those materials. One thing I realized the other day was you can build vertically. We typically think of that like in block play, but you can build horizontally, patterns this way as opposed to this way. In either case, the inner experience is rich with knowledge, because as you construct outwardly with those materials, you're simultaneously constructing inwardly. It's that experience, the inward knowledge, the insight, that is the richest zone for us to understand with ourselves and with children. So I think that's enough I've said for a while. I'm going to ask that we put on a little music here. We'll give you a warning before it's over, so you don't have to end abruptly. And then we'll go to the next step, which is to reflect on the experience and see what we've all uncovered. Okay? Thank you again for being here. And I hope you enjoy these next few minutes of being with yourself, listening to music, and enjoying whatever happens, knowing it was absolutely intended to be just like it is. We'll see you a little later. Have a nice time. Relax and open up, breathe, and enjoy the experience.
Just about another 2 minutes of play. All right, I'm going to invite you to find a place of pause in your play, as difficult as that may be. All right. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to offer you 60 seconds to quietly reflect on the unique experience that you just had. So I'm going to invite you, if you're comfortable, to just close your eyes and take just a minute to reflect on that experience, quietly contemplating what took place, and then I'll send you into a time of journaling. So just 60 seconds, quietly think about what happened. All right. Open your eyes. And in just a moment, I'm going to invite you into a time of journaling, but just wanted to offer a few thoughts ahead of that opportunity. And just to remind you that that experience that you just had was a gift of time to connect with yourself, your inner being, your intuition, your inner child, the materials that you had in front of you. And so we do hope that you enjoyed that time. And like Walter said, found joy and healing and peace in those 18 or so minutes. But we wanted to offer you just a few moments to kind of capture what took place and what you experienced, again, as a unique opportunity and experience that only you had for that moment. So for our journaling, I'm going to give you just about 4 minutes to, like Walter said, if you have a pen or pencil and paper handy, just jot down some thoughts about what took place. Just like the play itself, there's no right or wrong way to journal. You can draw about what happened, jot down some notes about what happened. It's very open-ended nature. Just do what comes naturally. And you might consider jotting a few notes for those of you who need a little bit of direction. You can think about what happened during that time of play. What did you feel? What did you think about or not think about? What questions arose? So again, we'll give you just about 4 minutes to reflect, and then we'll send you into breakout rooms to get to process with a few other folks. I'll put some music on again for that time of journaling. And enjoy your time to reflect. Just about a minute left of your journaling time. All right. Once again, I'm going to invite you to find a place of pause in that reflection for yourself. And then we're going to have an opportunity for you all to share a bit about your experience. I saw in the chat, Ted put the comment, "Don't bother me. I'm in the state of play." And I'm sorry that I had to bother you out of that state of play. I agree with Heidi that that should be a t-shirt phrase that we can all purchase. So thank you, Walter, for that inspiration. And thank you, Ted, for sharing that as well. We're going to try something a little bit different for our breakout rooms. For those of you who've been with us in our virtual play experiences in the past, we typically send you into breakout rooms just with one other person. But Walter and I are in a constant state of play with these experiences and experimentation ourselves. So we're going to try 4 folks in a room together. And in order to really practice equity of voice, we're going to invite you to select a timer. You're going to have 15 minutes in that room with 4 folks. We're going to invite you to select a timer when you get into the breakout room and have that timer allow each person to share uninterrupted for 2 minutes. And I'm putting these directions in the chat box as well so that you'll have them when you move into your breakout rooms. So you've got your timer. Each person will have 2 minutes to share uninterrupted about the experience that took place for them. And then after each person has shared, you're going to have about 7 minutes together to talk and process connections and enjoy that time. Are there any questions before we head into our breakout rooms? You've got the directions in your chat. 15 minutes. Let me know if you're having any trouble finding that invitation to join the breakout room. And we can't wait to come back together as a large group after this time and get to process as a large group. So enjoy your time of conversation and reflection. I'm opening the rooms now. Let me know if you have any trouble finding those invitations. Melanie, are you able to see that invitation to join the breakout room? Oh, she did.
Hi, Carly.
Hi, Walter.
Are we alone?
We are.
Oh, good. Did you saw what happened, right? I lost my service.
Yes.
Did it disturb yours?
It was a little bit, there were a couple points when you were talking where it got a little glitchy, but not so bad that you couldn't still make out what you were saying.
How about the video?
No, the video was coming from my end, so the video would have played flawlessly.
Good, good, excellent.
Yeah, I'm glad that at least in your house you have good service.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm going to see if I can't make some other arrangements. I think we need some kind of a new, what's it called, Kitty? Router? A new router is
Yeah.
what makes it. Modem or router.
Oh, tell Kitty I said hello unless she can hear me. Hi, Kitty.
Yeah. She said hello. Good. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm glad it went okay then. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to pause the recording really quickly, Walter, or we can keep this recording too?
Pause the recording. I don't think I have the recording.
Oh, it says recording. Maybe it automatically switched over to my.
Oh, right.
No, we don't have.
Okay, good. Good.
So yeah.
2 new messages, it says. I wonder what those were.
Oh, in the chat.
Oh, Paula's given.
Oh, you know what? I did not set a timer. Let me remember to do that. Oh, I think we're probably at.
I think we're close to being on time, actually, Carly.
Yeah, not too bad. Did you get a chance to play it all or didn't have any materials with you?
Well, I grabbed some and I brought them with me. I made a little something. It's not very dramatic, but it was kind of neat what I did. Yeah, but I didn't journal. I haven't journaled. I played with some rocks and one river rock. Yeah, it's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Just for a minute though. It helped because I was in a state of distress, as you might imagine.
Yeah. A possibility for your technology too, Walter, would be besides a different router. I was on a conference preparation call yesterday and they recommend an Ethernet cable where your computer is plugged into the internet itself. So you're not relying on wireless connection. So that might be something to talk to Ben about.
Ethernet connection.
Yeah, an Ethernet cable. So you're like hardwired into the internet.
Yeah.
And they say that helps with, he was recommending, because the presenter who's going to be the keynote is from Florida, actually. So he was mentioning that sometimes weather can be problematic. So having a hard cord into the internet can help.
Good. Yeah.
But like I said, it didn't feel like it, took us off course.
It's probably more disruptive to my flow.
Yes. Yeah. So true. Isn't that, it's so interesting. Yeah. How those little things.
You, when they come back on, let's see what we've got next.
Yes, let's.
Also, let's remind them to put their email addresses in the chat room.
Yes, I will. I have that at the end as well. I have a slide because I didn't want to forget. So I put on the slide to put their email address and also the feedback survey.
Okay.
So when we come back, we'll have that time of, I'll invite folks to show what they did and I'll try and take a screenshot. We'll invite them to take a photo of what they did and their journal. And then we'll invite them to put their email in the chat box. And then we'll move into our large group debriefing time.
Good.
And then I'll share the task slides. And
yeah,
then we'll wrap up.
Wonderful. I'm going to move a board over here. I can do this. I'll just put this here for a second.
And the amount worked out nearly perfectly. There's 5 rooms of 4 and 1 room of 3.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, I suppose I could have broadcast the message to everybody in the chat too with the instructions.
Let's see. This may work.
Oh yeah, that's a great setup.
That look all right?
Yeah. I guess we have no choice but to be in a constant state of experimentation because
Is that for sure?
there's always something fun and exciting that could happen. A new possibility.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely appreciated, like I said, during our NACI time, I felt so confined by the space that I had to play. So I loved getting to spread out on the floor. Like I needed just to be able to move my arms and my play in a greater capacity. So I would count that a success for my play for this time.
Yeah. Just thinking about moving again. I'm gonna let's see if I can.
You have so many great options of backgrounds.
Yeah. Here's my library. think maybe I'll sit. I don't know if I'm going to sit here.
I'm so confused you're making.
I'm going to go out the other way. Kitty's there. Oh dear. Well, I'll just, how much time do we have?
We still have 7 minutes and 30 seconds. They're about halfway through.
Oh, good. I'm going to get some water.
Yes.
Now, you know how disruptive that is.
Oh, yeah.
Right. You got through it. How do you connect the Ethernet cable to the Ethernet? How do you do that?
They'll put a hardwired router in your studio. So I think I don't know if it goes in the wall or it's like a separate box. And that router, like there's a cord, it almost looks like an old telephone cord.
Okay.
That plugs into your computer, depending on what type of laptop you have. Sometimes you have to get like a special adapter. I don't have an Ethernet cable, but like they have adapters that you could get if you don't have the plug in your computer.
Good.
But most PCs have, it almost looks like where an old phone jack would go in.
Okay. Good.
And so,
All right.
yeah, that could help. But all in all, to say that we've had 9 experiences, and this is the first time that there's been any type of tech glitches, is, I think, a really, good statistic.
I think it may be the router. I'm afraid. We'll see. I'm going to have to figure it out.
Yeah, in my house, I know like they also have these things called boosters that like you can put in different rooms, because probably similar to your space, in my house, the further I get from the internet box, the worse my service is.
Yeah.
So they have these also boosters. You may just call the company, like your internet company, and have them come out and give a few options or recommendations, because they have boosters that you can like put in another bedroom.
I have
that
one.
Oh, you do? Okay.
It's plugged into the wall nearest to the studio, and it still doesn't do it. So that's why Ben thinks it's the other equipment.
Okay. Yeah, could be.
Yeah.
My house, I have plaster walls. And so the internet does not like old school plaster walls.
Yeah.
It's just much denser material for the wireless to go through, but.
Okay, good. All right. Well, we got a good group.
Yeah, lots of new names that I don't recognize.
Yeah.
Which is exciting. You know what? One thing we should maybe inquire about in the future, in the beginning, or we could even do it now, is just how did you hear about this experience, or what brought you here?
Yeah. I wonder what question we should begin with now. Just, is it a sharing, open sharing from each of the groups, somebody from each of the groups?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. There's, let's see, 5 groups. So yeah, I could just invite like from room 1, and I can kind of keep it up because they may not remember what room they were in.
Can you show the room as they share?
Let me take a screenshot of it.
I think there's a way of showing the 4 people live while the sharing's going on.
What do you mean?
I mean, if you were to ask that group to share, the group of 4 people, there's a box, your screen now is divided into 4 sections. And each person is live and you can see them.
Yes. Well, everyone will be back together in the large room
Yeah,
though.
that's right.
So, but I can certainly put a screenshot and invite, yeah, one person from each room. I can put up a screenshot of, let me see actually if I can copy it. Oh no, it's not gonna let me. We could also try the thing too, where maybe we could do both and after we have each group share. Let me see if this will work. If I put this in the, I don't want to share my screen because it'll take over
Mm-hmm.
the Walter, do you see that screenshot that I just put in the chat box?
Yep. Well, let's see. I see the click. Let's see. I click on it. Nope. I see all the names. I don't see an image.
Yeah. Okay. So you see the rooms, right?
Yeah. Not the rooms, just the names and the pictures of the people.
Yeah. So it says room 1, room 2, room
Yeah.
3, room 4, room 5.
Yes.
So we can just use that. We can invite them to,
Wonderful.
like you can say, can someone from room 1 unmute themselves
Good.
and share?
That's great.
And then if we want to invite other folks, just depending on the time, this is the hardest thing for timing, because sometimes some people will be really long-winded in a beautiful way because they're sharing amazing things. But yeah, I like that idea of kind of setting the context a little bit, maybe even saying we're just going to give each person or each room have one person share just for about a minute or so.
Okay.
And then we'll open it up. And then we can also invite folks to put their thoughts in the chat if they'd like to.
Yeah.
The question I forgot to ask before I sent them in breakout rooms was also reflecting on the space itself, the play space, what that virtual space felt like, what their physical space felt like. So if that comes up in conversation, we can make that connection. But
good. So we'll just jump in there. Now, would you
Yeah.
like to do it, or would you like me to start them off?
if you would like to start them off, I think that'd be amazing.
Okay, now what about take the picture?
First, we're gonna all do the take the picture. I'll remind them to take the picture. I'm gonna close the breakout rooms now. That's gonna give them a 1-minute warning.
We're about 10 minutes behind. That's not too bad.
No,
We started late too.
yeah. All right, so breakout rooms are gonna close.
I'm going to,
Welcome
yeah, good. We're back. Good. Hi, Mike.
Few
Hi,
more
Mike.
folks coming in.
Yeah. Good.
Just about 20 seconds and everyone will be back in the big room together.
Excellent.
All right. Welcome back, everyone. We are so excited to dive into a time of processing and getting to hear from you all about what that time sharing about your play was like. But before we do that, we wanted to invite you to articulate your device, move your computer or tablet or phone, and show us via screen what your play looked like. And while you all are doing that, I'm going to try and take a screenshot so we can have an opportunity to see everybody's play. So if you can move your device and kind of show us what your play looked like. And then keep holding it up. I'll tell you when to stop. Let's let
I don't know
everyone
how
get
to do
settled.
that.
Can just move your device. Like I'm just holding my computer, moving it around.
Take a picture. That's what I did.
Yeah, or you can take a picture.
Okay.
All right, keep holding it, keep holding it. I'm gonna take a couple screenshots here. All right, keep holding it. We have 2 screens, so I've got to do.
When we take a picture, how do we put it up?
We're going to invite you in just a moment where you can share your picture.
Okay.
So I'll walk you through that in just a minute after we do our large group sharing, if that sounds good.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, everybody. You can put your screens back on your face. And let me see if I can share those images, and then we can dive into Walter's going to lead us in a time of conversation. All right. Let me open up those images though, just so you can see collectively what took place. All right, there's one of the images of that play. And then I'll get you the second one as well. And we'll send these in a follow-up email as well, so you have an opportunity to take a deeper look at kind of what took place in that virtual play space, even though we were all in different spaces, had that opportunity to be together virtually. So there's that second image. All right. And again, we'll email that out to everybody. If you wouldn't mind putting your email address in the chat box, either right now or we'll invite you again at the end of our time. That way we can make sure we stay connected. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Walter so we can all talk about what happened.
Yeah. Maybe we could do that, Carly, by room. Like from each room, since we don't have a lot of time, each person or a person from each group could share a little bit about how that experience was for the group and perhaps a little of your discussion, keeping in mind the principle number 3, which is really about, did you feel yourself in a different way? Were you functioning in a different way? What awareness did you have of yourself during the play? Should be reflected in your journaling. But in any case, how about in room number 1? There's Elizabeth Partida, Karen Vanderven, Melanie Felton, and Ted Hartzell. Is there a volunteer from that group who might like to just give us a minute view or so of what happened in your group? What was your discussion? Would somebody like to give us a little something from that group?
I think one of the big things we came up with is needing permission to start the play. We kept bringing experiences from other people, how to get other people energized, and it was having that permission to just sort of let go of all those inhibitions that hold us back from just playing.
Good. Yeah.
Permission.
Yeah, permission. And giving it to ourselves as well. It's okay to do this, both outside permission and inside permission. Yeah, great. It's good to see you, Ted. Yeah. Anybody else from that group would like to? We still have another little bit of time. Melanie or Karen or Elizabeth?
Well, one thing we talked about was accepting failure when things don't work out, you know, and being comfortable. I had to take a breath when something didn't work that I wanted to work. And so accepting failure, accepting trial and error, being comfortable with that. And we talked about the element of risk, that the risky might be failure. So that was another piece that we talked about.
Yeah, sometimes, especially if it's public, the impression of others matters so much to us sometimes. Good. Thank you, Melanie. Yeah. Karen, I wondered if you'd care to share from your perspective as a great professor, anything from that experience stand out in your discussion? Is Karen muted?
Oh, yeah, Karen. You should get an invitation to unmute.
Okay, sorry, I just unmuted. I'm better at playing than some computer stuff at my age. Anyway, I love the permission to get into it, and I had given my mammoth collection of play materials, including my beloved set of Dr. Drew blocks, to a very deserving nearby school. So all I had left that I dug up was a box of Legos, a great big one. Here's the cover. So I have the Legos. And then when I was upstairs, I noticed all these hair rollers. And I never use them, but tonight I'm going out, and I thought later I'll give them a whirl. But I find they were great to make a necklace out of hair curlers, and I love that permission.
Good.
And making a ribbon of Legos, and I'm just thinking I'm not even going to take these off for tonight. We'll see what happens.
Why not?
Yeah, so I love the permission to play, and how much you can make out of what's right in front of you and around you when you're empowered, especially with that permission.
Good.
So
Good. Thank you, Karen.
You're most welcome.
It's so valuable to have these spontaneous responses. I think everybody in each group should have an opportunity to say, I have something to share, or to pass. So if it's all right with you all, we'll just do it that way. Rather than one person, let's at least offer the opportunity for each of you. Elizabeth, is there something you'd like to say? Keep in mind, you can pass if you don't want to say anything. But Elizabeth, do you have something you'd like to share?
I really like the experiences my 3 group members shared with me, since I'm a college student and I don't work with small children. So just listening to their experiences was really nice. During the time that we did have to play, I really enjoyed the music. Just having those 15 minutes of just play made me feel really relaxed. It's something that I don't get often, and it was really nice to just take it in. I really enjoyed that.
Good. Thank you so much. Yes. Everything that's being said now, I see it's so pure. It's spontaneous expression from the heart. So it has extra value because it's absolutely what happens when a person has that experience, that person in particular. Okay. So room 2 has Blythe Heinitz, Professor Klugman, Joanne, and Paula Lopez. All of you, welcome. Is there somebody that would like to start off comments from group 2?
I had gone to a film a week ago called A Broken House from the Museum of Tolerance. They have film shows. The Broken House is about a Syrian immigrant who became an architect in the United States and built a replica of his home because he couldn't go back to it, and then destroyed all the buildings. And I was saying to the group that it's been apparently going around in my mind for the past week And so when I started to work with the materials, all of a sudden it just evolved. So here is the, let's see if you can see this.
Oh, the picture.
So this is the top down view, and the white, which are bread ties, is snow. And I did that in place of breaking this because I didn't want to break up my construction. So I put snow as kind of making it very cold and whatever. But this experience allowed me to get out what was inside that I didn't realize was inside by using the materials. So thank you.
Thank you, Blythe. Perfect. Yes. Okay. Edgar, would you have a little something for us?
Well, it's an extension of play. We are learning how to extend play. The World Health Organization 2 weeks ago had a conference in New York City, initiated by the New York University and the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. And they are looking at it from a global healing perspective of individuals who are hospitalized or have any kind of illness that they're facing, hospitalization or other kind of health issues. When you are able to think freely, as we did, you begin to incorporate a lot of your experiences of the past, the present, and gives you a whole new way of looking at the future. And you've given us, with this experience, a new way or new ways of riding a horse and galloping away and galloping toward testing out what works for each person. Because we've never had such freedom in the adult world to play. And we were allowed to play. I almost ate that potato. That was a rock. And it was okay. And it was okay to get an idea that a tray is not always food. It can be used in other ways.
Yeah.
And we learn to free ourselves more of things. And include new experiences in new ways. Like, I'm hard of hearing, and I'm working with Google in my house on playing games of hearing, because I don't always hear it properly. I play the game of, what time is it, Google? Can't hear it. And so I have to change to a new game. I haven't discovered it yet, but I'm on the road and I'm allowing myself to play with it.
Wait, Baba, we have to
And
stop.
right now,
Baba, I'm gonna turn it off now.
Fantastic, Edgar. Fantastic, Ed. It's very much like what I heard from Blythe, that we have a chance to express these things we have in us through the play. And don't we all need that? Opportunities to feel free, to have permission, to share whatever it is that we're holding and we'd like to put out there. Fantastic sharing. Thank you, Ed. All right, then there's Joanne and Paula. Forgive me if I'm moving too fast, but I think trying for everybody to have an opportunity has inherent value in the experience itself. Joanne, would you like to share? Remember, you can pass, don't feel obligated, but perhaps you have something you'd like to offer. That's a no from Joanne. Okay, good. If you
Walter,
change,
don't forget, if folks want to share in the chat, we can use that possibility as well.
Yes.
Some folks are more comfortable writing. We've got about just a few minutes left of time as well.
Yeah. Okay, so we have Paula Lopez. Hi, Paula. Paula, there she is. This is the awardee I mentioned earlier. The Florida Association for Early Childhood chose her the Outstanding Local Leader of the Year. She has a school in Ocala called Kinderoo. It's a brilliant, wonderful place for kids. Hi, Paula. Do you have a little something you'd like to share? You are muted, are you? We can't hear you.
Unmute yourself, Paula.
Thank you. Okay, so I put away all my materials. I took a picture, but I can't share it because I'm using the phone. But I made a garden of open-ended materials, and as I was building it, as it was coming together, I didn't have anything in mind, but as it was coming all together, I realized how all the pieces are connected to make this beautiful piece, this beautiful art piece. I mean, visually, I found it beautiful. It came from me playing. And then all of a sudden, I just like realized how in the same way, we are all connected to each other and we all have different qualities, different skills, different beauty that we carry. And then when we join a community or when we come together, then it becomes better. So that's what came to mind as I was playing today.
Fantastic, Paula. Thank you. Thank you.
Mhm.
In room 3, we have Heidi Wolf, Jessica Medina, Robin Plouffe, and a representative from the Montessori Foundation. Would one of you like to share? Don't be bashful, just jump right in there.
I'll share quick. I think a couple of us didn't really plan on coming, and so we quick took what we could find. Maybe it was we felt a little scarcity in materials, but we used what we had, and then we're really impressed with what you can do with the things that you have. One of forgetting her name, she even used the shoes in the closet. And so just like children, oh, Jessica, sorry, Jessica, just like children can use anything, materials can be anything. So there's thinking about scarcity and abundance and the things that you need. And then I also had thought about being sure to give my group that I work with enough time both to play and warning of we're going to transition to something else. So thank you, Carly, for giving us time and transition of a warning.
Good. Thank you, Heidi. I was thinking of that young man in the little movie that we saw when he was speaking about, finding balance and just using what we have at hand. Good, thank you, thank you. Jessica or Robin or the foundation, Montessori, would you like to share?
Haiti pretty much shared what I had to share. Unfortunately didn't have access to materials. All I had was a closet, a notebook, a teddy bear, and I went into my closet or my sister's closet and just started stacking shoes, playing with shoes, and making some drawings in my notebook, just doodling away. And then it was a teddy bear, so I also started playing with the teddy bear and adding it to the shoes and just trying to be creative. And as I mentioned in my group, I'm a huge Disney fan, and this also relates to play because I believe in the last one, the little girl, she's playing with a fork and some glue and just materials that she just had.
Yeah.
And she loved that more than the toys that she actually had. And so that's what it reminded me of Forky, but in this case, shoes.
Wonderful.
So
Yeah.
I thought that.
Imagine doing that again sometime, just spontaneously playing with your shoes.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Jessica. Okay, Robin, have you got something you'd like to share? Or Montessori? I think I know.
Sure.
Yeah.
Heidi really captured nicely how we all, it's interesting. We all ended up in the same breakout room because we all sort of came from the same place of not being sure we were going to be able to be here today. And so I sat down feeling disordered and sort of, just not ready, and I don't have enough material. But then I realized there was enough, and as I started to play, I started to build sort of this secret garden. And I realized in my secret garden that I started out alone, but then I was like, no, I'm not alone. I'm with Walter and Paula in Florida. I'm with Carly in California. I'm with Ed in Massachusetts. We're all together. And so I in my play, I invited all of you into my secret garden. And then I think if there had been enough time, I would have wanted to knock down the walls of my garden and just have everybody there.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you, Robin. Talk about storytelling possibilities in this play. It's right there. Wonderful. Anything from Montessori before we go on? Elizabeth?
Hi, Drew. It's Peggy. How are you?
Peggy. Good. Thought that was you.
Our group said everything. I don't think there's much to add. But again, as Jessica, I didn't have much, so I'm taking care of my mother. So therefore, I didn't have much here as far as for play. But as Jessica was saying, children play with almost anything. So I found crayons and I made a maze, so I started realizing, wow, we need materials, and not even if, for my grandson when he comes over to visit, but also for us, to be able to, just relax and unwind, So, yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah, good. Thank you. And that's so true. Wonderful. Okay. I'm trusting we're okay to continue. We have two more groups. We're a little over time. If anybody needs to leave urgently, please feel free to do. Carly, is that okay? We just keep going a little bit here?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm going to pop in just the participant guide again one more time for folks, and also a invitation to share with us what you created and your thoughts and journal pictures. So I'll put those in the chat box as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Carly. So it's group number 4, Huntelasia, Monique, and Nancy. Would you like to share a little bit?
Yeah, I'll go.
Thank you.
Yeah, we talked about a little bit about how it can be hard, especially as an adult, to not try to form a plan and just kind of approach it open-ended without any preconceptions or like an idea of what you want from the beginning, to just kind of have it organically develop as it goes. And then as that process goes on, just trying to approach it. Like I just started by just putting things down, trying to like keep an empty mind and just start putting stuff down. But as I was going, I realized that I was starting to create kind of like a Shinto inspired sort of a structure. And so I just kind of started to roll with that. And as the idea developed, it changed and it grew. And I think with children, especially, that happens a lot more easily. We had mentioned how they'll come up and they'll ask for materials and we'll say, well, what do you need the materials for? What's your project? Like, I have no idea. I just know that I need a glue stick and 5 staples, and then I'll go from there and I'll figure it out. And so trying to put yourself in that headspace as an adult was refreshing. And yeah, that's
fantastic. Yeah, that's a great point. Just use what you've got. And if you're not sure what to do, just start touching. And wonderful. Thank you, Hunter. Okay, Monique or Nancy.
Yeah, I'll go. I loved this experience. I thought it was really cool to just truly focus and be in that mindset of like, I'm playing right now. Like, I'm not worried about the dishes. I'm not worried about my dogs. I'm just trying to focus on what I'm doing right now. And I thought that was cool. I enjoyed the word someone gave earlier, was giving myself permission to play, like permission to not worry about those other things. And so I thought it was a really awesome experience. And thank you for your time.
You betcha. Thank you, Monique. Nancy, have you anything you'd like to share?
Yeah, I just want to share just real quick. So this is the kind of thing that I built, and it was taking the littlest rocks and putting them together in a group. And how I added one, I had to make adjustments on all the other ones. And when we were sharing stuff in the group, it ended up, it seemed like there was parallels or similarities into the 3 of us and how we kind of went together. And so now with this sharing too, it seems like somehow it kind of like knits together and you learn something too from what other people are learning too. So it's a really rich experience.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Nancy. Thank you. Well, we're on to group 5, and we have Kate Williamson, Lynn Wheatrick, Marika Rivas, and Mike Ashcroft. Would one of you like to pop in there and say a few things? Okay, Lynn, thank you.
My name is Lynn. I love to play. And what I realized is I like to do plays with people that don't expect it at all. And I know that some people's reaction is going to be horror. Some people's reaction is going to be fun. And some people's reaction is going to be, I loved it and woken up. So I've gotten much less frightened of sharing my play.
Nice.
And Kerry just put me on this workshop the second that it started. I had no idea about it. And then I realized that I have my material that's play material for me around all the time. So I had a carousel, a tarot card, and I saw in the tarot card a figure that was supposed to be planet Earth, but it became a figure in my drawing. And then 2 wings from a happy birthday card. And I'd like to show what I did. And when I shared in the group, I wanted to say something about everybody and what they had done and give accolades or an idea. I don't know, it's light and I'm trying to be more light. Can you see what I did? It's a carousel. There were 2 figures and one of them was not happy. And there was no way that I could make it happy. So I drew a happy figure next to it. And then I drew hands and legs. And I wrote the words home, fun, peace, joy, and fear. I feel very lucky. And pretty much I'm like an inner child all the time. And don't necessarily want to grow up.
Yeah. We all have so much to share, it seems. You know, it's wonderful. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you. I saw your drawing and I saw the carousel. And when I saw that with the canopy, I thought of my own experiences as a little boy in Rockaway Beach, New York. And I thought, yes. So we're connecting on a number of emotional levels as well. Thank you. Thank you, Lynn. And then we have Kate Williamson. Are you still here?
Yes, I am. Good
Hey,
day,
Kate.
everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I certainly appreciate the experience. And, you know, what I thought to myself is whether we realize it or not, we are being healed internally, you know, and that's what really gave me much joy. But what I did, I worked with the natural resources, I worked with straw, and I decided to strip them in pieces, and I stripped it in 20 pieces. And then I thought about what you had said, Walter, about building vertically and horizontally. And then I thought about why not diagonally? So I fold the straw in half and I held it up vertically. And then I took another one horizontally. And then I start to work and manipulate. And I weave this thing. And I said, this looks like a fish, you know? And then I said, you know, I can get so much of math out of this from kindergarten right on up to 12th grade. And I thought about counting and the concept of top and bottom, because you weave top and bottom. And then I thought about symmetry, doing it in half. And then I thought about geometry with the diagonal and the vertical and the horizontal. So it gave me a whole lot to think about with regards to my favorite subject, math, as well as my time to manipulate and play. I had fun playing with straw.
Thank you, Kate. That's wonderful. Yeah, good. So it's the play and the art making, I think, was also mentioned. This is part of that experience. Good. And Mike Ashcroft and Mariko. Mike or Mariko, do you have anything you'd like to add? Hi, Mike.
Sure, I'll go. Dr. Drew, our mutual friend Badgie Rankin says to say hello.
Fantastic. Hi, Badgie, through Mike. Good to see you too, Mike. It's been years.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
When I picked out my materials, one of the materials I selected was just this big tub of frogs of all different colors. And I thought, you know, Ed mentioned earlier, like a tray is not just a tray for food. Things, you know, materials can be more than one thing, that concept. And Drew, you mentioned storytelling too. And as I was working with these frogs, I'm thinking, don't let them be frogs. Don't let them be frogs. I'm just using them as color kind of, and just creating, you're just creating art and there's no story here, and don't get locked into the frog idea. But then as I think because I used colors as a way of organizing them, they still became living entities, and they became like frog armies of blue versus red and politics and racism and oppression and getting outside of the box. And it became this, you know, kind of story in my head that I didn't know I was going into, but you know, that's kind of what happens sometimes. So
yeah, that's what happened.
That was fun. Thanks for that relief from life.
Good. Glad you made it, Mike. Thank you for sharing. And I think one more, Mariko.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, we all in the group were talking about how we kind of built upon what we were creating with the materials we had. And I chose Play-Doh, and I shared with the group that it's been years since I've actually played with Play-Doh myself. And so it kind of took me to more of a nostalgic sensibility while I was in play, and just smelling it again and remembering, you know, why does Play-Doh have this smell, you know? And so I kind of created a little flower, and then I just felt like I was building upon, well, what else could I make with the flower? And the flower kind of looked like a little starfish to me. And I'm like, okay, so and we all kind of creatively said that in the group, that we were thinking about what else, you know, and just having that connection while you're in play. I felt peaceful. I felt calm while I was in play. And And it was a good, actually for me, it was a good way to start my morning. Just a very peaceful, calming, creative, being with the self, and I enjoyed it a lot. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Lynn. Carly, I'm gonna ask. It's Lynn. You have a question.
Yes, it's a theory. I believe that creativity can be taught. And I was wondering what you thought about that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. The very same principle of number one is exactly about that. It is in the play that we learn to be creative, that we express ourselves creatively. And what better way to learn about creativity than to experience it alive and in yourself, coming out just like you all did today. Forgive me, my idea of what happened is exactly that all of you for a few moments either played with shoes or blocks or these little weaving things that Kate did. And isn't that all about what creativity is? Exploring, keeping our hearts open, giving ourselves permission to engage freely. We're so surrounded with obligations and responsibilities. To free ourselves from that for a few minutes is indeed a healing process. It is a self-directed teaching of oneself, of something of very high value. This little process is a mindfulness practice. It's a meditation with one's higher functioning state of being, yourself. So I see this experience as sacred. In a sense, it's a spiritual experience that we've lost touch with in our education. I don't want to get poo-pooing on education. Let's stay on the positive. But understanding oneself, expressing oneself, feeling peace within oneself and healing, it's the very thing we want our children to learn, to embrace and love and to crave in their lives. That sense of oneself, capable of creating harmony and order, just like you did spontaneously in your play. That in itself is, I see it, Lynn, certainly one dependable, valuable way for children to realize what creativity is. It's the expression of oneself in these beautiful, aesthetically pleasing, artful ways. Yes, yeah. I'm aware of our time. We're a little over, and there's a few more things to do, and I'm in conflict. I confess. How should we proceed? And my hunch is that maybe some people need to leave. I hope with a grateful heart. If you wanted to stay, I think we should just go ahead and look at these few slides that Carly has thoughtfully prepared. Or we could.
Walter, I'm just going to give a sneak peek because I think we'll dive in more to the slides next time, just in essence of time.
Okay.
But
wonderful. Yeah.
Like Walter said, we're constantly just trying to sort of follow the flow of what happens in these experiences. So thank you all for just the thoughts that you shared. Like Walter said, our intent was to share a bit about TASP conference that Walter and I had the opportunity to present at last spring, where we had the opportunity to revisit these virtual play experiences. As some of you may have noticed, we called this virtual play experience 9 because this is our 9th time joining in this virtual space. And just really want to echo Walter's gratitude for you coming and sharing in this space. And I personally learned so much and am just so inspired and encouraged every time we come together and not only get to connect with ourselves through that play, but also just get to be inspired by each other. So wanted to just end with a beautiful quote from Professor Ed Klugman. And then this will be a teaser for our December play experience. We'll get that date to you out as soon as possible. And we'll have the opportunity to kind of talk about what we've all collectively experienced since we started doing these virtual experiences. But one of the thoughts that was shared by Ed that I think just encapsulates what we were talking about today says, it's amazing to realize we are gifting ourselves to each other in this session, and we bring our own gifts to the table. The energy transfer that occurs with what we're doing and what we're saying to each other, because the energy, your energy, gets woven into my energy. So Ed, thank you for those words, for this beautiful art that you created in one of our art play sessions. And again, it is our hope that you felt that energy transfer from one another. I certainly felt that from your words and your sentiments. And we're excited to get to share a bit more about what these virtual play experiences have taught us, and invite you to share your reflections as well. So with that, as a reminder, there's the participant guide, which has links to additional resources, including Walter's newest book, Self-Active Play. You can click on that link directly and order a copy for yourself. Walter, did you want to share anything else about the book?
Actually, I do. Thank you, Carly. And
Yes.
I don't know if you can see this. This is the copy of the book. And in conversation with Paula Lopez just this past week, Paula suggested we do a book study. And there's a date. We're going to do that. We're going to actually do a series of readings and practices based on this book. And it goes something like this. We'll come together for 1 hour. The first meeting would be on December, what was it? Paula, do you remember? Is this December 20th, I think.
Paula had to log off, Walter.
Okay, we'll send the announcement to you. In any case, the idea is to read a little bit and then within the month, apply the practice in some way, then come together the next month and share what you did. So if you'd like to do that, we'll send information out to you. That was an important announcement. I also wanted to say that Carly and myself, along with Robin and Julie Perry, will be presenting at NACI this year on the value of this self-active play as a self-care process. And that's at the NACI conference in November. If you happen to be going to NACI, please consider attending that session.
It's next week.
Next week. Well, yeah, it's that close. Yeah. So that was, thank you for being present, everybody. I wish that we could all just stick around and talk with one another in the same room, but given we have this opportunity, let's seize upon it whenever we can to come together again and play like this and share. I'm so glad everybody had a chance to say something to everybody. Thank you for being present and sharing as you did. Like Ed's little drawing, it was a painting workshop we did, illustrates love flowing into us and from us this way. Yeah. I think we're going to conclude. We could stick around for a little bit, or are we going to conclude? We're going to conclude. We're going to conclude. Well, since we're concluding, I'd like to leave you with this thought. Actually, it's from the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. But before I say that, I have to say how good it is to see everybody. I know a lot of you, but there's a lot of you I don't know. And I wish I could just recognize everybody. I do see you. Maybe now you're friends with everybody you also see. Like, for instance, Ted Hartsold. He's a very past president of our Kiwanis State organization, and he's a scientist, and he still works at Cape Kennedy, and he works with the astronaut. I mean, everybody has this wonderful, rich history to connect with. And Robin is a professor up there in Vermont, enjoying the fall colors. And Kate is down in Jamaica, and Karen is in Pennsylvania, and you all have, and Melanie's in Iowa. Oh, and everybody, Mike is the person who does after school training around the country. You're still doing that, Mike? Yeah, good. And so it's very exciting, to be together like this. So the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band says this to you. May the long-time sun shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure light within you guide you on your way. Guide you on your way. And play is a way for that to happen.
Play is
Just
the
like-
way.
Yeah.
Go with that.
Thank you, one and all. Best wishes to all of you. Thank you so much, Carly, for helping as you do to make this an experience as it is. Thank you. See you again sometime, and happy Thanksgiving.
Same to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
God bless.
Thank you all.
Thank you all, Carly.
See you in
Thank you.
December.
See you, Ed. Bye.
We're gonna order the book.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Peace.
Bye, Ed. Oh,
Thank
wow.
you all.
Thank
See you
all.
soon.
Yeah.
Play away.
Yes.
Holy
Under
cow.
you.
Well, a couple of people still around, I see.
Walter, I wish I could stay longer because I would love to talk more with you, Lynn and Karen and Ed, but I have to hop off. I have a realtor
know
here
you do,
too.
dear.
Well,
Thank
Take
you for
pictures
staying
of
as
my
long.
home. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for sharing. And Ed, thank you for that beautiful quote you
Yeah.
provided.
I love
from
the way
one of our
the way you presented it. It was so beautiful the way you presented it too.
Oh, well, thank you. It's a quote that Walter and I really cherish, and it resonated with both of us. So thank you for sharing it. All right, I'll see you soon. See you in
Well,
December. You all can stay on and chat, and Walter will
Stay
catch me up to
forever.
speed.
Will do. Bye, Carly. Thanks again.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you, Walter.
So here we are, a few left.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go to the door and see if Amazon left my brand new set of Dr. Drew's blocks for
Good.
me.
Thank you for that. They're on
Yeah.
their way, Karen.
Good. Maybe they came.
Yeah. Thank you for being
Well, I
present.
know the
today.
school I gave my other set to loves them, and I sat on the porch thinking, I'd given all the other playthings, oh, I want my Dr. Drew blocks. And then I said, well, who would probably play with them the most people. And so I gave them to the school, and they love them.
I'm glad you got some for yourself, Karen. Thank you. Yeah. So,
Thank you, Walter, for
Yeah.
all your leadership in technology,
yeah.
which we need badly.
Yeah, we do, Ed.
And we need to look at the fact that we're going to live to over 100.
Oh, yeah, before it was
A lot of you are going to be a century old. And think of all the contributions of your past, present, and future. Now, it's something we need to address jointly because we'll be living beyond 100, all of us who are here, because we're good players.
Yeah, I wonder if there's any, that's an interesting thing to study, like how play affects aging.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Well, that's a big interest of mine, and I'm already started getting into adult play and older adult play. And eventually I'm going to a retirement home, and they don't know what they're in for. They're going to have play sessions and by Dr. Drew's blocks and,
Oh, good.
and
that's
Play-Doh and the whole kit and caboodle.
Fantastic. Yeah. Good. Yeah, that's a subject that Ed's program is very interested. He's been, Karen and Lynn, Ed has been involved with MIT, the MIT Age Lab. And it's a program, as I understand it, new to me, that looks at intergenerational play, engaging high school students with retirement communities, elders. It's geriatric play and aging. And Ed has information about that and his Global Peace Project, which is also an important program. And Ed, you're a magnificent illustration about what you just said. we keep producing as long as we're here. And you sure do that. You sure do that, Ed. Yeah. You want to say anything about either of those programs, Ed?
Do you want to talk about the Global Healing Project or the MIT Age Lab?
Well, the Global Healing Project is going to be presenting at
Clemson
University next spring. And we hope that many people will begin to inform themselves that there's energy to be had when you think of global healing, personally, professionally, and community-wise. It has to begin almost at conception, and it needs to become more of a part of lifelong healing, which we're engaged in as well today. And I thank you, Walter, for leading the way, because those of us who are in child development see technology differently than those who are engineers. And yet the engineers have a great deal to contribute to life, like merry-go-rounds in the playground, driven by kids who have so much energy, and the energy can be stored and used. And Ghana, the Ghanaian children take the energy that they produce during the day home with them in lanterns, so they can study, so they can be actively involved with each other. And it's amazing how we transfer and can transfer energy to each other. As the quote showed, the effect that we've never really addressed the energy transfer that occurs so eloquently in schools and in communities is a byproduct that everywhere. It's harnessing it and thinking it through and sharing it in settings like these. And thank you for letting me put that edgewise in.
Yeah, thank you, Ed. And you know, it's true. That's exactly what was going on today. We were experiencing our own energy expressed in our play, and then sharing it with others and receiving energy. The sharing was such high quality. The revelations that people experienced and shared spontaneously, that was pure energy as words. It was wonderful. Yeah. We should continue this. I hope that you all come to the next occasion. We'll let you know if you can make it. and we'll play again. Perhaps you bring different materials. And if you have any suggestions for improving this or changing and experimenting with this format, would be wonderful to hear from you. And
All of you are invited to the birthday party in 4 years.
yes, the birthday party is Ed's party.
Yeah. I was wondering, Walter, about I don't know how it would work, but about doing interactive play online. I don't know how that would work.
Yeah. There were two ways that I had thought of. Carrie, that's Ed's daughter, Lynn, you may know, and Karen, who's there with Ed. Ed was referring to his birthday party. In 4 years, he'll be a full 100 years old, which is absolutely amazing. But Carrie, to your question, there were two ways. One, it could be actual in person on virtual. For instance, should you and Carrie, or Carrie and you, Carrie and Ed play together in person. So we bring a friend. We bring a friend to the play, which would be awesome. And that would be cooperative play, spontaneously. That's one way. The other we thought of, which we actually did, was I forget exactly how we did it, but we did it several times ago, where people played in a breakout room together.
That's nice.
Yeah. It worked and people saw it. Lynn Hartle was there and she said, yeah, that's definitely cooperative play in a different way. But I'm very excited about the idea of bringing a friend in person and
like
playing
that.
together. Yeah.
Well, we're already, like you said, all set.
Yeah.
We've always brought each other. So.
Yeah. Good.
Oh,
Yeah.
Lynn.
Yes, Lynn.
I used to belong to an art studio, I guess. And that's exactly what we did. And it was called the Play Studio. And we would look around for all kinds of objects. And together we would work and talk and not talk. And then there was something called the scribe, who also had worked, and they wrote down what people said. And so that had both elements to it.
Yeah.
Also from the sharing today, I got the idea of storytelling.
Yeah.
It's perfect because you want the other person to share the experience that you are having.
Yeah.
Wrinkle writing. Mike had on his shirt, and I taught writing. And that's a great way of doing it and overcoming fears.
Yes.
I don't know. Play is just everything.
Just to introduce you to Walter, Lynn is
everything.
a very, very good friend of my father's.
Could you say that again, Carrie, please?
Yeah, just to introduce you to Lynn. Lynn is a good friend of my father's.
Oh, wonderful. I
Yes,
think I may have seen her picture. It's also possible I met her briefly at Ed's was it your 90th birthday, Ed, maybe? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know if, did you know my father? I don't think she came to the night. Yeah, I don't think she knew my father yet then.
Oh, okay.
They met on the ride. The ride is like the public bus that comes around to people's homes.
Oh, okay.
So they met on the ride and they've become very, very close friends with each other.
Wonderful. Hi,
Yeah.
Lynn. Yeah.
And Lynn, Walter used to work here in Boston. That's how he and my father met. And he's worked his whole life in with play.
Yeah.
So.
And for those of you who may not know, Lynn, I don't know if you're aware of this, and Carrie, you may not be, but the lady with the crown, the one that has those little things on top of her head. Ed knows her. That's Karen Vanderven, and you all know each other from years ago.
Yeah. very definitely.
Yeah.
You know Karen, Baba?
Hi.
That's Karen
Yeah.
Vander.
Yeah.
but
Karen, if I may, Karen, had done some, very, very important research on, Lynn, you're going to have to tune me on this, but I mean, Karen, it was about, as I recall, kind of spontaneous relationships. Karen, you know what I'm referring to?
I'm not, I thought you might be referring to my, I got interested in chaos theory.
That's it, chaos theory.
Chaos theory, and I wrote a big, I wrote a long article, which was published in, well, I've got the book upstairs anyway, a great big fat book on, it was on how important it was for us to understand in the future the nonlinear, unpredictable aspects of the evolving world and how play related to all of that.
Yeah.
Oh,
And Doris Fromberg, who I'm sure you will, of course, know, she and I both worked in chaos theory. In fact, we were at, as I recall, we were at Wheelock, I believe, and we were making presentations, and we all nodded our head. I said something about chaos and play, and Doris said it. And I was hoping she'd be here today, but I'm going to write her and tell her.
Yeah.
So
good.
So play connects
Thank you.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the name of the book or writing, Karen, that on the chaos theory and its important relevance?
Oh, if you chat for a second, if I have the book down here, I will, I'll hold it up and I'll read it to you. Otherwise, I could email it to you. Do you have, maybe you could send me your email later?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Anyway, hold on one second and I'll get the book.
The other part of this, it seems like we have possibilities for bringing people together like this to share larger portions of time about their interesting projects. It's not too dissimilar from what Deb Lawrence is doing on the play chat, the porch chats, where people have a chance, and then it's shown as a video. This could be done live also, which is exciting to think about.
Thank you for connecting my father and Deb Lawrence.
Yes, you're welcome. I'm so glad you're doing that. You did. Did you do it already, or you're doing it Saturday?
Did you do it, Baba? Did you do the porch chat? Did you do that porch chat? You already did it.
We're having one coming up.
He did one and he wants to do another one.
Good. Deb was very excited that you said yes. Yeah. That's wonderful that she's doing that, And I especially think for the elders, to catch the elders, in their state. Yeah.
Well, Walter, I hope you've done one.
I did one on the book, this new book. I'm very excited about that little book. It's not as colorful or picturesque as the first one, but it's nice because it branches off and talks about play with centers with families suffering from sudden traumatic loss, abused and battered women work, nursing and retirement communities. It kind of hints at, oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you hold it up, Karen?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't want to interrupt. That's all.
Thank you. No, that's good.
Anyway, this is a play from birth to 12 and beyond. And it was edited by Doris Fromberg and Doris Bergen, who I'm sure we know.
Oh, yeah, both of them.
And that's where I had this article called Play, Proteus and Paradox, Education for a Chaotic and Supersymmetric World. And the idea was, and I think we've come to experience this, if we want to be able to deal with all the unpredictability and different emerging dynamics of the world, we have to have play.
Yeah.
And so I'm, sensitive dependence on initial conditions, and this is, and how play actually embodied all of these.
Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah. Right. Good.
So
Stromberg and
yeah, what
Doris
was it?
Bergen. Yeah.
Doris Bergen.
Yeah.
Yeah, the two of them.
Yeah.
oh, Bergen.
And what was the name of it again?
Play from birth to 12
Yeah.
Beyond.
and
Play
beyond.
from birth to 12 and beyond, context, perspectives, and meanings. And it was published by Garland Publishers in, drumroll, 1998.
Doris
Good.
Bergen and Fromberg.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. If you'll forgive me, I have a 2:30 meeting in town. And so I need to get on my horse, as you were suggesting, Ed.
Yeah,
and
you better.
gallop up there. Yeah.
All right,
Grab a
well,
bite of
thank
lunch.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna go off too, but thank you guys. It was fun to talk.
Yeah, same here. Thank you very much, Carrie and Ed and Karen and Lynn. So nice being together. Best wishes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you, one and all.
Yeah. One and all.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all, and great to see you all.
Yeah.
We'll be in touch.
We'll be in touch. Yep.
Mhm.